the Samskara novel, which was published first in 1965, immediately got attention all over Karnataka. I'm saying all over Karnataka, not all over India. By 1970, the film was made. And it's a usual happening. 1970, the film was made. By that time, I was in 10th standard. I could understand what's happening around the world because of my excellent teachers. The best thing happened was the censor board banned that film. That made film national and international. Suddenly, as Ram told, if you ban something, then naturally curiosity increases, right? And suddenly people like us, little bit, active in the field and thinking of participating in a pro-people movement, suddenly we started arguing for film. Still, we didn't read that. And I tried, when I was in the 10th standard, I tried to read, but I was unable to understand what it is exactly. There is one place, there is a Brahmanism, in another place there is a Shudratva, and there is a Dalitatva, and there is a lot of happening in between. It's too much for me when I was studying in 10th standard, where my teachers never speak about caste system. They never talk about religion. They keep us in a very, very auspicious and very pure students. You should not think about all those things. So we are like that. But the film was banned, and then that's what ma'am is rightly said. Somebody, if you are interested in the history, somebody has to make a wonderful study. What happened in 1930s and what happened in 1970s? These two decades, 1930s, I have not witnessed it because I was not born. But the best Kannada writings, even now, by Kuvempu, one of the most vibrant writer, even now is very relevant, Kuvempu. Shivaram Karanth, one of the great writer who got Jnanpith as early as 1961. Kuvempu got in 1953. Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, who also got a Jnanpith award. So all 1930s. And when India was fighting for freedom, the most of the Indians thought that once we get a freedom, India is freed and we are happy. But Shivarama Karan, such a great writer sitting in a small place called Putturu, wrote a Chomanadudi where he argues that the real freedom for Dalits will come only if you get a land ownership. That realized in 70s when Devaraj Aras was the chief minister of Karnataka. And so to say, I don't know whether should I take the name or not, but Indira Gandhi is regime. Emergency and everything, we all fought against emergency, but some good things also happened. That is now marginalized actually. One of the good thing was land reform, which was initiated by Karanth in 1930s and executed by Devaraj Aras in 1970s. See the connection. That's what I'm trying to say. The connection between 30s and 70s. It never happened in 60s. It never happened in 50s. It never happened in 80s, but it happened in 70s. So Shivaram Karanth and other Kuvempu, the best writers. Then we see something new in 70s. One is Samskara film. The another one is, you may be knowing, Devanur Mahadeva started writing. One of the best Dalit writer in Karnataka, who brought so many things to the forefront. And a lot of minorities, people coming from minorities like Muslims started writing in 70s. Muslim women. Sara Abu Bakr she published her first novel in 1971. Samskara film made in 1970. Siddhalinga, who died last year, my good friend, he came here, and in SS3, if you go to the canteen, you can see a part of his statement in a poster in the canteen. Janaki Nair made it. So Siddhalinga died last year. He published his Dalita Hadugalu, the Dalit songs, in 1975. Land reform implemented in 74, 75, 76. A lot of people, including my father, got a small piece of land. That made us, to go to school and to get new education, and finally I'm so happy to say that I reached JNU. Something great, at least not for others, but for myself. It's a great thing. Born in a very tiny place. Your father was a tenant. Then you got a small land. He tried to send you to education without anything. We just then reached here. So this is the sort of development we have watched and we have experienced. So anyhow, 70s was a great thing. Now. That's why the 70s, when film was abandoned or banned by the censor board, it has created horror all over India. That made Ananthamurthy and the film national, and to some extent international also. That made many people not aware. I mean, in India, I'm sorry to say, many people in India have forgotten what happened in Godhra. But after BBC made a documentation, now everything has come back again. That's the main, problem government had. We are trying to, take out from your memory, but why BBC want to bring it back? Sometimes it happens in the history. So anyhow, now is the 57th year of the book publication, right? 57th year. But I'll say, I'm very happy to say, after 57 years, the JNU is showing that film means what? It's still relevant, right? It's still relevant. Debate is still going on. In Karnataka and other part of India, some 4-5 years back, I was in University of Columbia at New York. We had a discussion about Samskara and Girish Karnad. Girish Karnad was there, so they all invited us for a discussion and how we watched the film and how we reciprocated that. Something. So discussion is going on now. That's what now bullet point starts. Now, what made this film still relevant? That's the question, right? Still, it's a black and white film. Yeah, please come. Please come. What made this film still relevant, or why we have to watch this film is an important question. So the 4 things I want to bring your notice. I don't want to explain it because I'm sure that you know that. Number 1, unproductive rituals. Do you think the rituals which is propagated by certain people or certain group of people, is it still relevant? Who has to raise this question? Either the people within the community or the people outside the community. Whether these rituals are productive or unproductive is the one question. The film tries to give you an answer for that. Okay, if you read about this novel, there is a discussion about the plague, the death of rats, the bad smell. All are happening in and around ritual. So it symbolizes something, right? It symbolizes that it's a bad smell. I don't want to explain much, though being a teacher for 40 years, we always explain more and more. I control myself. Now that's the one thing. Yeah. Unproductive rituals. Okay, whether it's a productive or unproductive is the big thing. Now see, in Karnataka, we have 3 major centers of religious thoughts. Number 1, Advaita Center at Sringeri. Now Shankaracharya, born in Kerala, you know that Kalati, moved to North India, all over India. He's a great man to walk on the foot all over India. Really amazing. But his best place, he liked the place Sringeri. So that is one of the main center of Advaita philosophy, right? Sringeri. Now Shankaracharya goes to Bihar and he argued with the Mandana Mishra, who was a Buddhist monk by that time, and he defeats him. After defeating Mandana Mishra, he changed his name as Suresh Acharya and he sent Suresh Acharya to Sringeri. No other places. You have to think about it. Why? He sent to Sringeri. Suresh Acharya stayed in Sringeri to spread the thoughts of Shankaracharya. That's number 1. Number 2, Mandana Mishra's wife Bharati defeats Shankaracharya by asking some questions regarding sex and other things. He is a brahmachari. He was unable to answer anything. So he accepted his defeat. But he took 1 year that I will come back. No, he There are a lot of narrations you can understand that he come back with the experience. Then the argument continues. Then Shankaracharya defeats Bharati. Okay. Now Bharati also goes to Sringeri, and even now the Sringeri Swamijis are taking Abhinava Bharati as their adjective. Sri Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Bharati, it says. Jagat Guru Shankaracharya. Where did the Bharati came? Not from Bharat, not from this big nationalism, no, nothing. The Bharati is Mandana Mishra's wife. She was staying in Bihar, but after defeating, she moves to Sringeri, and she took the name of Bharati. Even now, the current Swamiji, Advaita Swami. So this is the one thing. Now, if you ask me later, after the film also, we can have a cup of chai and we can discuss more. If you have time. I have time. I'm a retired person. What happens? Advaitis are bit liberal, because while fighting with the Buddhism, they are also influenced by Buddhism. That's why Shankaracharya is called Prachanna Bauddha. The others called him as a Prachanna Bauddha. Because while arguing, if you are really in the argument, then you learn from your opponent also. But that is not happening these days. Yeah, the trolling and others is nothing. They don't learn anything from you. And we also don't learn anything from them because we think that nothing to learn. So these are the current politics. But Prachanna Bauddha, Shankaracharya was bit liberal. At least he said Atma and Paramatma are same. There is no difference. At least. So every Atma, you may be untouchable. You may be some other middle caste. You may be a Brahmin. You may be Lingayat, or you may be Veerashaiva. Atma is same. It's like looking like a pot. You see different types of the pots, but if you crack it, the mud goes back to the mud. The mitti goes back to the mud. So that is the thing. It's okay to some extent, though I don't believe in this. It's okay. Now, another religious center was Dvaita, which was started by Madhvacharya in 13th century at Udupi. It born and spread all over India from Karnataka. Now, Advaita and Dvaita are on opposite directions. Now, Advaita says Atma and Paramatma is one. But Dvaita says it's different. So, if you see the difference, it's God made. So, they sustain and they argue for the hierarchy, argue for the casteism, argue for the pure and impure, all such things. These are called Dvaitis. To make it very simple, Dvaitis are more orthodox than Advaitis. The third one is Visishtadvaitis. Popularized by Ramanujan, who was in Srirangam, Tamil Nadu, but because of the Chola kings was driven away, because Chola kings, they are Shaivist, and this man is propagating Vaishnava. There's a huge fight between Shaivas and Vaishnavas. Many temples destroyed. All temples are not destroyed by Muslims, my dear friends. Sometimes we destroy ourselves also, like what we do now. We destroy ourselves. That's also there. So Vaishnava, Shaiva, Cholas sent him. So Karnataka gave him a space to stay. It's Melukote near Mysore. That's the major center of Visishtadvaita, right? Now the major three thoughts based on Vedic philosophy, all are believing in Vedic, but when you're interpreting, you are having a lot of differences. Now in the novel, the hero, Praneshacharya, belongs to Madhva or Dvaita philosophy. It means Ananthamurthy himself is a Dvaita Brahmana, Udupi. We used to fight with him sometime. I said, I can believe anybody in the world, not Dvaitis. He always says that we are different. Then he hugged me. No, Bilimale, we are all one. Come on, let us have a drink. So, like that. So that's a different creature. But Naranappa, the hero of this Praneshacharya, the hero of this film, belonged to a Madhva Orthodox family, surrounded or at Udupi is Vaishnava, and they have to fight with the Smartas. That's Advaiti. See, while watching the film, you will realize it. Now, Naranappa is died. One character is died. I will come in there. Then the Dvaita Brahmins goes to Smartas. Can you burn this body? It means what? Why one Brahmin community is going to another community to ask him to burn the body? It means according to Dvaitas, they are little lower. They can burn the body. We cannot burn the body. Right? Samskara is right. That's right. So I will come into that. So number one is unproductive rituals, which has been evolved during years by three matas: Dvaita, Advaita, and Vishishtadvaita. The point number one. Now, spiritual bankruptcy and spiritual crisis. The spiritual bankruptcy is a major thing. Now, every day, if you switch on your TV, you see hundreds of Swamijis in various channels. That's the best example for spiritual bankruptcy. It may be Nityananda or it may be 100 others. They talk nonsense. I'm sure they talk nonsense. They talk bullshit. They don't know anything about Indian philosophy, Indian religion, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Upanishad, Brahmanaka, Aranyaka, Kavya, Mahakavya, Ramayana, Mahabharata, whatever you say. They don't know anything about that. They just make money. They're the business people. That's fine. The people are following them. So, spiritual bankruptcy and sometimes spiritual crisis also. See, I don't say everybody is like that, right? Everybody is like that. There may be one or two, a real believer who really, read, practiced, and thought about it. Now, Pranashacharya in the novel, he is a well-read man. He is a Vedanti. He learned all four Vedas at Kashi. And he learned a lot of poetries. He can explain Kalidasa's Shakuntala in such a way that an unmarried Brahmin could love a girl. You see Vedanta, it's a part of the Vedanta, you teach Shakuntala, then what should a young boy do? Should he follow Shakuntala or should he follow this Vedanta where Brahmacharya is ultimate? These are the beautiful things comes there. So there's a fight between Dvaitas and Advaita. That's one thing. Number two, spiritual bankruptcy. You can see in the film. Number three, zero intellectuality. Is there any intellectuality remains in Indian tradition? Is a big question. Because after 2014, a lot of discussions going about ancient wisdom. Now NEP argues for that. We have an ancient wisdom. And in Bangalore, there's a new university has started called Chanakya University. And Karnataka government gave a huge money, 230 crores and 250 acres of land. They don't give money for Kannada studies. Kannada chairs is, my professor is there, Vishwanath. I'm happy to introduce Professor Vishwanath, my colleague. Yeah. So he don't get money. Ask him. He don't get. But Sanskrit will get money. Why? Because the belief that your ancient wisdom lies in Sanskrit. Now, whether it's true or bad, that's a debatable question. I may be having a different opinion. You may be having a different opinion. That's fantastic. That's fine. But the film says there is a zero intellectuality among the Orthodox Brahmins. Because the whole film was set in a place called Agrahara. You know what is Agrahara? Agrahara is the place donated by kings to the learned Brahmins to continue their studies. That's Agrahara. Agrahara, in Karnataka, wherever you go, Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Gangas, and many kings, they donate land for Brahmins. Naturally, because it's an educational center. It was there. So Agrahara. Now the film starts in Agrahara, where Pranashacharya lives and other Brahmins also lives. When you see the film, you will realize that absolutely there is no intellectual rest. Living in Agrahara. Naranappa dies. Everybody was eating. Now I come into the plot now, and I will finish. I don't take much time. Now see, Naranappa is also Brahmin. Pranashacharya also Brahmin. Pranashacharya is a learned Brahmin. Now Naranappa has gone out of this agrahara and he sleeps with a Dalit woman. That's number one, Chandri. Now, this is a big shock for Brahmins. Big shock for Brahmins because he openly keeps her. Privately is not a problem. Privately is not a problem because it happens in the novel. If you read the novel, privately, the Brahmin says, why should he keep openly? This is the question. Why should he keep openly? Because a Brahmin boy or Brahmin sleeping with a Dalit woman is approved by our Shastras because it's Anuloma. Anuloma is accepted. Viloma is not accepted. A Dalit cannot marry a Brahmin. Then it's a big problem. That's what Basavanna, the 12th century revolutionary, did. He said, no, you should go either way. Now, one of student in CHS, I think, was doing research on a Mariamma. Is a goddess. The Mariamma is a Brahmin girl married to a Dalit. So, ultimately, the Dalit boy has to kill. And that become a ritual. That's become a ritual. So, what I'm trying to say is the zero intellectuality means this type of the fooling people. Fooling people. I don't know what was the best in the previous India. Who watched it? I was not there, and I'm sure you are not there when the golden age was there. It may be golden age for them, but what about ourselves? But the projection is we had everything in ancient India. Now we lost. How you lost? Hardly there is any answer. Then they come up with the Muslims. If you are very strong, then how did the Muslims came? You would have fought with them. If you are really strong, you would have fought with them. You would have thrown them out. The people said 27 times Somanath temple was, and what is that? Invaded. What did you do 27 times? Did you organize yourself? No, you made some pujas. All 27 times you made pujas. See, I mean, these are the questions. I mean, it's the arguments. I don't say this is right or not, but this is how argument goes. Now the film clearly shows the zero intellectuality in a agrahara where Durga Bhatta, Narana Bhatta, and there are 4 Brahmins are coming. You see how they behave, okay? I don't want to interpret it. You see. Now the dead body is there. Unless you fire it, you can't eat. It's a big question. Okay, now let us go and fire him. You can't fire him because he left Brahmanism. He slept with the Dalit girl. And he drinks. He is acting in a theater. See, all creative things comes up with the Naranappa. This is why Ananthamurthy was attacked by Dvaita Brahmins. Not all Brahmins. Dvaita Brahmins. Because if you say the whole Dvaita philosophy is staying in Agrahara is dead. It's like a plague. It's like a dead rat. It's like a bad smelling. You can't get into that. Do you think anybody will accept it? That was the controversial thing. And we all supported Ananthamurthy. And Ananthamurthy remained one of the greatest writer later. Okay. The last one is questions fundamentalism. The whole film is questioning the fundamentalism. Now, after 2014, now the recent development made Ananthamurthy more relevant. That is the one more question. A lot of things are happening. Now, main influence of URA and Samskara, Ananthamurthy and Samskara. Just I tell you a point. Number one, the concept of dharma. Now, what is dharma is not the right platform to discuss about that. What is dharma? Because in India, dharma is hierarchically placed. That was the problem. There is no one dharma for everybody. Now, that's why in 1942, Ambedkar wrote a letter to Vishwa Hindu Sabha, Hindu Mahasabha, saying that, see, we are all Hindus. Don't think that we are not Hindus. But write one religious book which should be accepted by all of us, which treat everybody equal. Hindu Mahasabha even now has not taken Ambedkar's challenge. Not even now. He wrote a very nice letter. We are ready, we are Hindus. But write a book Because you take Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarna Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So it makes you different, 4 Varnas. Or then you take any Dharma, Dhritihi, Kshama, Damo, Asteyam, Shaucham, Indriya Nigraha, Dhir Vidya, Satyam Akrodo, Dashakam, Dharma Lakshanam. This is the 10 characters of Dharma. But where is it? It's not equal for everybody. If you steal something, the Brahmins will be treated differently, a Dalit will be burned, a Shudra will be thrown away from the village, all such things. There is no one Dharma. And for men, there is a lot of liberation. For women, nothing. If you want to prove, a woman want to prove that she is very devoted to her husband, what should she do? She has to hold a serpent in her hand. The serpent should not bite her. Why can't men do that? Why don't? So there is a separate dharma, and boiling what is that? Boiling balls. You have to hang in front of people to prove that you are very pure. Everybody, people will not accept it. So that's what I'm trying to say is that the concept of dharma is hierarchically placed, and it gives different meaning to different. According to me, out of context, the constitution is the only one dharma grantha we have which gives justice for everybody, at least for the time being. No other dharma granthas which supports casteism, which supports the separatism and all such things. Anyhow, that's the one thing. 2 is caste. I don't want to elaborate much. Ananthamurthy was much influenced by Ramana Roya's writings. So the caste hierarchy, caste exploitation, all such things comes. Then skepticism, Sandehavaada we say, skepticism. The European skepticism came into India in 60s actually, post-independence period. We got skepticism, which was translated, especially David Hume was translated into Kannada as early as 1962. David Hume, Sandehavada. You doubt everything, you don't take it for granted. You doubt, Sandeha. Sandeha is doubting. So skepticism is a major thing. So when you see a ritual, you have to ask a question. It's fine, but why these people are doing it? What they are doing it? Why? What is the function of this? Some questions, okay, like that. Now the sex, we have Kama Sutra and we say all things. But the contemporary society, how how the people look at sex? The creative literature in Kannada was much influenced by D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers, including Polanki Ramurthy, Ananthamurthy, Lankesh, Girish Karnad, everybody. So it made to open up a new avenue for towards sex. The major theme in this Samskara is sex actually. It's a sex, purity and impurity. When your sex is pure and when your sex is impure. Have you read Homo Hierarchicus by Louis Dumont? Dumont's, it's a wonderful book actually. It says everything how Indian society is, placed on just a simple concept of pure and impure, right? So this is the thing. I don't want to elaborate that. So that's the one. Attitude towards sex was much, came from D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers. And Ananthamurthy, in one of the interviews, he said, I have much influenced when he wrote this novel. He was influenced by a film called Seventh Seal by Ingmar Bergman, right? 1952, I think, is still one of the classic. It talks about death. It talks about death. Bergman's Seventh Seal. So if you have not seen, it's about yesterday I was watching it on my laptop. So if you have not seen still, you can watch it maybe in the later time. You can just download and you can watch that film. Ananthamurthy in one of the interviews said, yes, I was a bit influenced by that. And the last one is existentialism by Sartre, Camus, and Martin Heidegger. I'm sorry, Professor, I don't know how to pronounce the French names, but we say just Jean-Paul Sartre. How your existence is formed? That's the main question. Now we have Purva Janma, Karma Siddhanta. So you are here just because you have done something in your 7th generation old. Lot of literature we have. If you insult your guru, you will born as a dog, that too female dog. Yeah. Then you born as a pig, boar. Then finally you born as a blind girl. Then you born as a boy. See? Then you have to attain. It's a long way to go. Maybe 100 years. 100 times you have to birth, you have to die. So we are here because of our previous birth. And whatever you do decides your future birth. So we don't have our own existentialism, right? But Sartre clearly said, if you prepare a pen, if you prepare this pen, before preparing this pen, there is a plan. If you press there, it comes here. And you can write, you can hold like this, you can write this. So this is the pen is pre-planned, but your life is not pre-planned. It's not pre-planned. It is you. You are the responsibility for your life. That is the existentialism. Who decides your existence exists? It's you only. So the second part of the film deals with that. The first part, of course, tradition, ritual, and the second part, when Praneshacharya meet a man called Malera Putta, a low-caste boy, he meets Praneshacharya and he shows the world. He shows the world. Then he realizes what is life. Who takes this responsibility? Not Shastras, not Dharmas, but Praneshacharya himself. He took the decision to leave the Agrahara and go with her. He go up to prostitute's house also. It is his decision. Then he will come back. So, existentialism is the major thing which influenced Kannada literature in the late 60s and 70s. Now, the title, of course, Samskara, there are two ways. One is death rites, the man dies, and how to, the second is Samskara, is culture also in Kannada. It's a culture, personal culture. How you develop your culture that is existentialism, something like that. Now, Praneshacharya, the Madhva Brahmin, I told you, and another man, Naranappa, he was a Brahmin. He belonged to that Agrahara, but because of the plague, he dies. Now, the problem is who will make his rights? That's the basic problem. Because Naranappa left Brahmanism. He was sleeping with a Dalit woman. The Brahmins are asking, he's not only sleeping, but also he's eating which cooked by Chandri, they say. See, at least you have to keep your purity in eating food. It's a big thing now. Eating food is a big thing. Now the food politics in India, what is happening? People decide whether you are good or bad by your choice of food. That's the contemporary politics now. Ananthamurthy is becoming more and more contemporary for me now. So a lot of debate is going on the food, right? So Naranappa left Brahmanism, but Brahmins never throw him out of caste. You got my point? Naranappa left Brahmanism. He want to eat, he want to drink, he want to sleep with the Dalit woman, he want to act in the theater, he want to make friendship with the Muslim. Hey Bhagavan, Bhayankara. A Brahmin making friendship with the Muslim is something Agrahara cannot tolerate cannot even talk, because Shantam Papam, right? If you talk, Papa will come on you. Something you should not talk even. But if he does that, and he goes to temple fish pond. Temples have fish ponds. It's a god's fish. If you eat, you will vomit and die. If you eat, you vomit and die. That's the belief. But Naranappa goes there, he catches the fish, and he makes very good fish fry and eats. Nothing has happened to him. So Naranappa, because of his deeds, because of his eating, because of his everything, he left Brahmanism. And there is one beautiful scene where Naranappa meets Praneshacharya. Praneshacharya wanted to meet him and say something good. Bhaiya, don't do all those things. Because our tradition is what? The Indian culture is what? We had everything. We had a Ganapati with the plastic surgery. We had a long bridge built by monkeys. Not by human beings, by monkeys. Such a great country this is. Praneshacharya wanted to tell him. Naranappa was very happy. Oh, Praneshacharya re, Bunny, he says, come, sit. Chandri, bring one tirtha, he says. Tirtha is bottle. Narnapa was such a traditional fellow. He was Shantam Papam, can't see. But he says, Acharya re, take little bit this. This will give you new jnana. And in your whole life, you never slept with a girl. And his wife, Praneshacharya's wife, Bhagirathi, the film begins with Praneshacharya meeting his wife, Bhagirathi. She's sick. And Praneshacharya intentionally married her to serve. Nishkama Kama. You understand? Nishkama Kama. Do your duty. Don't expect any phala. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. Right? You do it. So he's doing it. That is his belief. He strongly believed and practicing it with a great difficulty. But Naranappa simply says, Acharya re, go and sleep with a beautiful girl. If you don't get a Brahmajnana next day morning, I will take my words back, he says. What a materialistic question and what a adhyatmic fellow. It meets each other. Isn't it? Such a idiot Naranappa, such a nice person Praneshacharya. Now, who will cremate him? That's the question. That's the Samskara. Who will cremate him? Now, Agrahara Brahmins all come there. They ask, Praneshacharya says, no, he's our own man. He left Brahmin, we understand, but we never removed him from Brahmin caste. Right? We never removed him from Brahminical caste. So we can do that. But the surrounded Brahmins, intellectuals, no intellectual scenario there. Yeah, thank you. They says, no, we can't burn it because he slept with Dalit, he ate fish, and he scolded us, and he met Muslims. I have a list of that. These are the sins, according to tradition, these are the sins. Whatever you say sin, he has lived with that. I mean, it's a great crisis. This is a spiritual crisis. So all four Brahmins says that we can't do this. Then Praneshacharya says, then wait. Then I will look at the Dharma Shastras. See, because Dharma Shastras are having everything, right? They must be having answer for this. So he opened Manusmriti, Dharma Shastra, and whole night he reads it. But he could not find the answer for this. This is a philosophical crisis or spiritual crisis, because many Shastras are good in that time, but they cannot answer our questions. They cannot answer. So then what they do? They go to some Matha, another Swamiji, looking for the answer. Then that Swamiji says, okay, you can do that, but he's a Brahmin, no? If we make Samskara, we will get some sin. That is also sin. Non-Brahmins cannot go and capture Brahmin body and burn it, because Brahmin curse is there. So in the next birth you will born as a serpent or whatever, or maybe a rat. All sins are there. So non-Brahmins who lived with Naranappa, because Naranappa is such a man who live with the Muslim, who live with some all things. This Brahmins goes there. Why can't you? They said, no, Brahmin's body we can't have. So they left it. Then suddenly one thing happens, you will see in the film. Now Chandri, Naranappa's wife, is not a wife, I don't know how to, mistress, right? Mistress, she's listening all those things. The Brahmin, Naranappa slept with her, enjoyed her, but for some reason he died. Now nobody is ready to burn, not from this side and not from this side. And she herself is a Dalit. What to do? So that's a beautiful part of the film. She removes all her bangles, gold bangles, earrings, whatever gold she has, collects and give it to Praneshacharya. Whoever makes samskara to this dead body will get this gold. Now one Brahmin says, I think I have to do this. Because he is closely related to my wife's, sisters, brothers, husband's daughter. Something. If somebody's become big, then you will find out, your roots with him, right? Like that. But then somebody says, anyhow, now the body is, decaying. I think I am a senior person. I should take the responsibility. Everybody is eyeing at gold things. Chandri in one, she is a Dalit woman. In one page, she says, she is neither a Brahmin, she is not a gold, it's a dead body. That is the basic existential question. He says, she is neither a Brahmin, nor a Shudra, nor even Naranappa, not even bangles, but a dead body. This is the word comes from Chandra. So the problem remains. Now the last part, with no answer, Praneshacharya decided to go to a Maruti temple. You know that. Maruti is sitting there. Hanuman, Bajrangabali. And there is a ritual called keeping flower. You keep a small flower in his eyesight and pray. Oh Maruti, I don't know what to do. There is no answer in my Dharma Shastras. What to do with this dead body? If you give your flower from right side, I will ask my Brahmins to do that. If you give from dead side, left side, I will do myself. Something he asks. But Maruti is also dead. Maruti is also dead. He is unable to answer. Our gods cannot answer our questions. You know that. We have crores of gods, but they cannot solve Indian problem. They cannot bring down even 50 paisa of the gas price goes up to 50 rupees to 45 paisa. But still we pray them. I mean, you know this very well because you are younger generation. You see more than what I see. God. The Maruti, flower never fall. He felt very sorry, Praneshacharya. And all this Chandra is watching. Now the whole Agrahara is suffering. Nobody is eating. 1 or 2 Brahmins died. Durga Bhatta died. Lakshmana died. Everybody is dying. Plague is spreading. Naranappa is died. This man, a Kashi returned, a great Vedanti, is looking for a solution everywhere. Everywhere. So she follows till the Maruti temple, and she wanted to give some banana to him. Because, see, every Brahmins eat outside. Otherwise, they would have died, right? They go to Manjaya's house. One Brahmin said, Manjaya, what is this? Manjaya says, what is this? You eat something, then go. Yeah. Then eat. Come back. Everybody make their own choices and plans to eat. Now, this man, Praneshacharya, is very devoted. He can't eat. So while making puja, Chandri goes there and she wanted to offer banana to Praneshacharya, and she wanted to touch his feet. Chandri Dalit woman wanted to touch his feet because this is the only one man trying to find the answer. Okay. Now, when she fell on his leg, it was almost half of his body. She almost on Praneshacharya, and Praneshacharya is almost on her. They hug each other, and slowly Praneshacharya's inbuilt, instincts come out, and it's almost in the evening. They sleep each other for some time. Okay? They have a sex each other. And when Praneshacharya opens his house, he asks the first question, now who am I? This is a transformation, complete transformation. This is exactly the question asked by Naranappa, right? The exact question asked by Naranappa. You can see where Ananthamurthy stands, with whom he stands, right? So that changes his attitude. That beautifully narrated, but little lengthy. They used Yakshagana and all such things. They could have, make it little shorter, yeah. But anyhow, by that time, Bhagirathi, his wife, dies. So he cremated her and he decided to leave the Agrahara. Now nobody is there in the Agrahara. All Brahmins have died. One or two left. Chandri is also left to another place called Kundapura. Praneshacharya decides to go out from the military. That's the first part. The second part is very simple. I will say within 2-3 lines. When he goes out, he meets a man called Putta, Maler Putta. He's a low caste man. He says, Acharya, where are you going? See, he's a very talkative like you and me. He can make even stones talk. Yeah. Then ultimately he succumbed. He says, hey, I'm going to Kigga. Kigga? Nannavuru, it's my place. Come, I will tell you the story. Then he starts telling the story. It means Putta's dialogue with Shankaracharya opens up a new avenue for Praneshacharya. He is a very traditional Brahmin. One Putta asked, Vagatu is what? This riddle. Acharya, you know the riddle? You know the riddles of Dharma Shastras. Oh, that you know. But whatever he asked about a fish and a cat and something, he doesn't know. So then he takes him to a festival, Kigga festival. Festival is festival, The life really blossoms in festival. There are a lot of things he sees. First time, a beautiful woman making acrobats. He sees it. What is this? A Brahmin, a traditional Brahmin, opens up to the new world. And first time he realizes that something is there out of Agrahara also. Out of Agrahara also. There are livings, there are lives. And Putta takes him to a hotel. It's a very beautiful, you see that. First time Acharya is going to a hotel. Going to a hotel is not a small thing. Because many people are coming there. You are drinking in a glass. That glass is not only for you. Many people must have, So it's impure. How can you drink? So that's why very traditional Brahmins carry their own glass and plates. In South. You see their bag. If they bring a big bag, you have to just see, sir, itna bada bag hai, sir, kya hai isme? You can take out a plate. They don't eat in your canteen. Like that. I saw them many in my university life. So he gets a new avenue. I'll just name whatever he sees. Now Agrahara collapsed. Brahmins were unable to eat. Many Brahmins died. Rats are started dying. Bad smell spreading. Plague spreads all around. Destroying. Then, he goes. Now part 2, see, whatever he sees. Praneshacharya is cockfighting. It is shown. This is cockfighting. He doesn't know what is cockfighting. You know cockfighting? It's famous in South India. And then riddle. Then he sees couples going together. Matha Swamijis, they keep their wives inside. They can't come out and talk to you. But these non-Brahmins, they hold hand in hand and they go walk. Sometimes they fight. They don't care for their husband. Or they fight. So many things. There's a life actually. The true life. It's not very, controlled. Now, killing of a serpent. Somebody kills a serpent. Praneshacharya says, hey, serpent is a Brahmin. How can you kill him? Then he says, no, serpent is a Brahmin, I know. If we kill him, we have to make a proper ritual, Then he takes the serpent. He brings a lot of wood. And he goes, Praneshacharya says, Naranappa has died. We cannot do any ritual for him. This man is doing for a snake. See the contrast, right? See the contrast. What a great contrast. And then coffee drinking. I like that. Coffee or canteen is a public space, right? Brahmins hardly go to public space. Even they go with their own instruments. They have a toolkit, small toolkit. They have. So they take out toolkit and they use it for their. Because the concept of impure, right? Impure. Now coffee drinking, then watching a film. Putta goes and sees the film. The girls are dancing, and there is a film song. Praneshacharya can't even imagine in Agrahara. see, I told you, I am in a very tiny place. There is a place called Subramania, Kukke Subramania, the nearest place which is 12 kilometers away from my home. Yearly we used to go there because we want to see tent cinema. And the first film I watched is Uragam Sutrum Valiban, a Tamil film, MGR film. I saw that, like, I mean, what is this? Amazing. But this Agrahara is dead for them. It can't see film. It can't enjoy a film. It can't see a girl bending, doing acrobats, something like that. Now, watching a film and different languages also. Well, that's a very beautiful. I'm a linguist. I'm a student of literature. So different languages. These Agraharas, listen to only Samskara is a very beautiful, in quote, cultured language. But when I meet my friend Ajit Khanna, we talk a lot of non-Sanskrit. And we call it as a Sanskrit. Hey, don't speak Sanskrit, okay? You see. So for us, speaking Sanskrit is a scolding word sometimes. Like that. I mean, it's a too big country. It's a too big country. 19,569 mother tongues we have. You know that? In 2011 census we have 19,569 languages. Now, 19,569 language means what? That much of culture. Each language is a culture, right? That much of the culture. So it's a variety here, type of the people. You go to festival, you see at least as part of a micro level Indian culture in a festival. So, okay, then different language. And visiting a prostitute's house. Putta says, Acharya, what are you doing? You're such a nice gentleman. Don't waste your, come. So he takes. And she is there sitting, is a prostitute. First time he got a shock. Where I am? Where I am standing? He was standing always with a Naranappa, Durga Bhatta. Suddenly a Padmavati appears. He ran away from there. So this is a, creating your own existentialism. So anyhow, when the film ends, Naranappa, Pranesacharya decided to go back to the same Agrahara where nobody is there. So he wanted to build a new Agrahara, maybe. It is just symbolizing. There is no dialogue or nothing says. He get a card and he wanted to go to. There is no Chandri, there is no Durga Bhatta, Naranappa, Agrahara, plague, all because of the fire, the whole thing was burned. But he decides to go back. When he go back, he was a new man. So when you watch the film, and after watching the film, if you are becoming a something new like Praneshacharya, that is the success of film. Thank you. Only one deviation from the novel is Chandri, with the help of a Muslim, Ahmad Ali, takes Naranappa's body and she burns it. Okay. Because a Brahmin's body is burned with the help of a Muslim, and that to a Dalit woman, may create a lot of controversy. That's what, when they make film, they have deleted that. Okay. But if you take A.K. Ramanujan wonderfully translated this novel into English. Wonderful novel. I mean, you can read in English like an original Kannada novel or original Tamil novel or whatever. So you can buy that. It's nicely translated by A.K. Ramanujan. None other than A.K. Ramanujan, who was a professor in Chicago University. So that's the only one deviation. Chandri take care of the dead body of Naranappa with the help of a Muslim. That's why the other Naranappa's, Cheers Naranappa gang, when goes there, they don't see the body. By that time, she already burned. Okay. That part is deleted in the film because of the public cry. But still, it's very critical of Brahmanism. As I said, spiritual crisis, transformation. This is a very bold film. And this film created a new wave film in Kannada from 70s to 80s. Then Girish Karnad started directing film. Chomaradudi with the B.V. Karan brought it. And that was the golden period for Kannada film, 70 to 80. Later it has diminished. Now it's almost, even being a Kannada professor for 40 years, I don't see Kannada. It's the worst. Only just fighting. Fighting I see in the street, right? Why should I pay money? And go to theater to see that. So that's the worst time. But recently one film, Kantara, he used folk elements strongly. Tulu is my mother tongue, actually. So I teach Kannada. Tulu is my mother tongue. So that Bhutaradhane, the deity worship, is from South Kannada. The Rishabh Shetty used that motive powerfully. See, we have been working in Bhutaradhane from 70s, but we are unable to tell about deities, to the larger audience. Even other than Tulu area, the Karnataka is a big state, but we are unable to communicate with the Kannada people even. But one film made it global. So I was sitting in Delhi and I got at least 50 calls from different media, newspapers. So what is Bhuta? What is Panjuri? What is Bhuta? All such things. So it generated a Girish Karnad, actually, one word I stopped it. When I joined JNU in 2015, I wanted to invite Girish Karnad to inaugurate Kannada. And I called him. He said, Bilimale, if you are calling from JNU, I will be very happy to come. Though it was not well that time. It was an oxygen. He said, I will come. By that time, something has happened in JNU. And Vice Chancellor Saporisa, he called me. Bilimale, if you want to call Girish Karnad, I stand with you. 100% I stand with you. But my suggestion is you are a new entry to JNU. In the beginning, if you create a halabulla, the future days will be very difficult for you. This is my humble advice. Then I had to drop that. And I told Girish, I'm sorry, sir. He said, why I understand. Then I had to come to Bangalore and meet him. Great man. The Snehalata Reddy was Chandri. She fought against Indira Gandhi's
Chikmagalur
and she died actually. Snehalata Reddy died in the jail. She was fighting against emergency. Karnad is very vocal. Very vocal. He stood with the JNU.
Yes.
He stood with the JNU. I am an urban Naxal. He put a board and he stood in
oxygen.
With the oxygen, yeah.
Right. So Ananthamurthy was a good friend of us. And he wrote Avaste and many other novels. But Samskara is the best. Even now is the best. So, those were the days meeting Ananthamurthy, meeting Girish Karnad. Now things are changing in the past. I feel very sad because even you go to Bangalore, you can't meet people like that. You should be able to sit with somebody and you should be able to talk to them. You should be able to listen to them, right? Or you should be able to argue with them. But now it's not possible. Number one, you don't get entry. Number two, even if you talk, they throw you out. And they brand you. So no dialogue. That's very bad because Indian tradition is full of dialogues. The Dvaitas and Advaitas, the Advaitas and Visishtadvaitas. The whole tradition was built with a very wonderful argument.
And with the Buddhists.
The Buddhists, yeah. The argument between Mandana Mishra and Shankaracharya. One of the greatest arguments. But now what's happening? No argument. Arguments is termed as bad thing for society. Anyhow, thanks, ma'am.
No, please, thank you so much because I think your introduction would have sort of put the film in a better analytical focus. Otherwise, you see a film, and I think for a lot of you who are from the north, you get a glimpse into life in the 70s. Things, of course, have changed a great deal. And those of you who are doing my course in MPH, when you read Andre Bete, Sripuram, then this is it's not exactly the reality, but it's a similar reality which you're reading with. Very different from if you read some of the essays from Bihar, UP. It's a very different context. And I just want one question I wanted to ask you. To what extent did the anti-Brahmin movement in the South actually influence these kinds of literary works? Because it produced a ferment, right? I just thought that could be...
The Karnataka was what in until 1965-66. 65. By that time, Karnataka literary circle was much influenced by, from West it was TSE and from India it was Lohia. So Ambedkar's entry into Karnataka I think was 1969. And 70 onwards, the Dalit writing was dominated. So when Ananthamurthy wrote, see, I put your posters in my Facebook that I'm going to talk at Samskara in jail. Then the Dalit's reaction is very interesting. Somebody said, Praneshacharya raped Chandri. Like that. So because Chandri is a Dalit, right? Chandri is a Dalit. Why can't, in the place of Chandri, you would have bring some other caste woman? Why you only, and there's a wonderful description in the novel about Chandri. How beautiful she is, how she is looking like, and something. So for Brahmins, why only Dalits look beautiful and why they sleep only with the Dalit woman is a big question. That's in continuation with the Anuloma. They can do that, Viloma, can you write a novel where a Dalit boy, sleeping with a beautiful woman? I mean, I should not put that type. I don't want to intend anybody, hurt anybody. But Viloma is like that. No such novels in Kannada. No, because Dalits, when the Dalits write, they don't write such novels. The Dalit boys raping or sleeping with the Brahmin, they don't write that. They have their own miseries. They have their own stories to tell. Now, why should they go to other level but Brahmins, yeah. So this is the Naranappa's role was done by Lankesh. He was a famous journalist. Gauri Lankesh's daughter, shot dead a few years back. She came to my department 2019. Then we asked Kannada to come to my room and he met many people. So she was very active. And Lankesh has a strong force in Karnataka, an anti-Brahminical force. Very anti-Brahminical. And the Naranappa, whatever he says in the film, he used to say in real life. And like that. So we used to tease him. You are not just Naranappa, you are Lankesh itself. So like that. Then after the death of Lankesh, anti-Brahminical movement has slowed down. And after 92, there are two things happen. Number one, globalization. The Manmohan Singh and Narasimha Rao brought together globalization, which means privatization, which means opening Indian market to the world. So many things happen, number one. Number two, 1992, the demolition of Babri Masjid, which brought Hindutva back. Now, in the later 95-96, Hindutva and globalization went together. So, financing by them and, all such things you know better than. So, then, because of the Hindutva and others, the anti-Brahminical movement has completely vanished. The one reason for that is the Hindutva brigade now has more non-Brahmins than Brahmins. Now, a lot of Dalits are with the Hindutva brigade. During up to 70, 80, it was non-Brahminical movement under Lohia or Ambedkar perception. It was actually non-Brahmin, per se, non-Brahmin. But now, anti-Brahminical movement is not possible because the Brahminical values are supported and continued and argued by non-Brahmins. So now, if you hit somebody, you feel like hitting your own face. You are not fitting somebody else. I like Dalits, but he is representing another one. Now how can I argue for him? This is the complex situation which he created in the last 7-8 years. And it's growing very strongly. And writers don't know what to do. So after 92, actually, the Kannada literary world was completely dull. They don't know how to write, actually. Dalit literature was there in 75 to 90. After globalization, Dalits also doesn't know what to do. How to face the new challenges, because they are in the Hindu brigade, they are Swayam Sevakas, they are having latis and a lot of things. So after 92, because of the globalization and the involvement or development of the Hindutva, Kannada writings has gone down completely. Now I can't mention you a good writer of 21st century in Kannada. A lot of rational articles are coming against globalization, for regionalization. Articles are coming, including me. I recently published one book called Vartamana Karnataka, Current Day Karnataka. How the Karnataka has changed in the last few years. in terms of how institutions have been demolished, how reservation has been made meaningless, how appointments, made under completely corruption. It completely changed. Now, in the name of Hindutva, you can do whatever you want. That is the thing now. And if you oppose corruption, they say you are against Hinduism. It's very easy for them to brand you. Yeah. So that's a complex situation, and the people like us, we don't know what to do with that actually, how to handle this situation. But youngsters are coming up very strongly. So that's why. So thank you, for yeah. Yes, sir.
Sir, both in the novel and the film, Chandri is not telling directly to Pranesh Acharya that I will directly take care of burning the body or burying the body.
No. Because he is in Shastra. He is still looking at Shastra. He was unable to get an answer from Dharma Shastra. He was unable to get an answer from that Mata Swamiji. He was unable to get an answer from the Maruti.
This I understood from the film and the novel.
Yeah.
So someone like Ananthamurthy who studied in England, also influenced by the English writings that was happening in 15 and 60s. This is one. And when Basalingappa made the comment that Kannada Sahitya is nothing but Busa. So one is this. And also Ananthamurthy's last book, Hindutva or Hinswaraj. So in all of whatever Ananthamurthy is writing, and apart from DSS little contribution to Kannada Sahitya, where do we see the agency or represent? Even most of anti-caste thinking in Kannada is influenced by Lohia. It is not influenced by any of, because Lohia is again influenced by M.K. Gandhi. So what is found in the film and your Ananthamurthy is that the Dalit doesn't speak as a Dalit. So he's always, the Dalit is dependent on someone.
But it's not in the case of Shivaramukara. Because Shivaramukara wrote Chomanudi in 1933, and still after publication of that book, after 80 years or so, still it's one of the best Dalit novels, written by a Brahmin. So Ananthamurthy's intention is to criticize Madhva community. And how Madhva community is criticizing Smarta community. So another man is making fun of these Brahmins, and his wife is giving food. This is a clash between two. It's not. See, Brahmins, sometimes the Dalits and others term Brahmins as a one category. It is not actually. Brahmins have many categories. They don't sit each other. They don't marry each other. They don't eat each other. In the name of Hindutva, sometimes they come together. But if you see internally, it is not actually. Madhvas and Smartas, they fight like the cockfight you have seen, like that.
Symbolic of that.
Very symbolic. So that is true. As far as Ananthamurthy's writing is concerned, the character of Dalits are looked from the top. The view from top, I can say. But the Dalit like Siddhalingaya, Devanuru Mahadeva, they see the world from bottom. Yeah. Looking from below. So that difference here. The only exception is Shivaramukara. And according to me, being a the best writer have to cross the border. As the content. Being a Brahmin or non-Brahmin, when I write, I should not restrict my writings to my identity. No. The best writing always crosses the border. This is my strong belief. Kuempu has did that. Shivaramukara has did that. Devanuru Mahadeva has did that. Yeah.
Even Kutkananda.
Who?
Ramaya.
Of course, right.
Champa is always connected to the
Because of the Ananthamurthy, Chandrasekhar Patil, and Lankesh, they fought like anything. Publicly they fought. That was a mere entertainment for us. Sometimes it was very enlightening for us also. It is not just scolding. No, they are not using filthy language. But as he rightly said, Chandrasekhar Patil used to criticize his Brahminical perspective. Very much. And sometimes Ananthamurthy accepts it, and sometimes to retaliate it. It's actually intellectual debates which happened in 70s. Now hardly any debates happen in the public domain. Either is cold or praise. That's the only thing.
Unfortunately, it's a binary.
Just binary now. No dialogues is possible. Even when I write something to a paper, I think 3 times actually. So recently, I am writing a long article about 35 pages, how I witnessed the fall of jail. Some of you may not agree with that, but this is my experience. I was sitting and I could see, things are changing. I wrote it. But now before publication, I have to think twice. Somebody may go to court. You damage the jail. You come and fight in the court. They don't take it in the true spirit. In the true spirit means what? This is what you have written is wrong. The actual fact is this. You write another article. That's a debate.
You can do a counterfactual. But that argument, space is
right. That's the academic discussion, right? That's why we are here. But if somebody go to court, it takes 5-10 years. And ultimately you don't know what judge tell you and where he belongs. It's very difficult now. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.